Hillary. Despite Hillary's dislike and hatred for her father Dilip, she returns to LA to meet him. Dilip is still in the hospital, fighting for his life. Although she doesn't get a chance to meet him on the first day, Hillary runs into Fauji and Suki, Dilip's children from his second wife. During dinner, Brinder and Hillary once bring up their ideological differences. The next day, Hillary musters up the courage to talk with his step-siblings at a religious event organized for Dilip's health. However, both Saki and Fauji are in awe of their father. They maintain how much he loves Hillary and how glowingly he talks about her with them. But Hillary cannot get past what she saw in the reality of Dilip's marriage with Brinder. This time at the hospital, Dilip is conscious. Hillary lies to him about being together with David and being pregnant with a son. The moment Dilip learns she is having a son, his facial expression changes. As he is being wheeled away by a nurse for his surgery, Hillary cannot hold herself back. The lid on her anger bursts, and she brings up how Dilip physically abused Brinder for years. He abandoned his family to take care of another one and left all the responsibility to mend Brinder's injuries to Hillary. It is a damning blow that perhaps contributes to Dilip not making it out of surgery. Hillary is picked up by David at the Hong Kong airport. It is revealed that she called him for emotional support. For some reason, Hillary carries guilt for having sent Dilip to his deathbed. All his misdeeds aside, Dilip was her father. But it's clear that Hillary held some love for him inside. Perhaps that is what has caused this burst of feelings. Before parting, David tells Hillary that Mercy wants to talk to her, which sets up the climactic meeting. Margaret. The family has decided to move back to the States. And in an anticlimactic ending, Essie is coming with them. Her decision is puzzling given the joy on the faces of her family when she announced her return to the Philippines. Although she doesn't want to leave, Margaret has seemingly overcome the eventuality that Gus cannot be found. However, before she leaves, Margaret also has a meeting with Mercy. On the day of leaving, Margaret makes a stunning decision to stay back. This happens as she is about to step in for boarding. Daisy, Philippe, and Clark are stunned. It is only Clark who truly understands her need to stay back. The kids are heartbroken and see it as a betrayal. Essie, who is also boarding the flight with them, wishes Margaret luck and hugs her. Mercy. Mercy has now started dating Charlie. She has asked David to step out of her life, although she still wants to keep the baby. Charlie and most of her student peers are still protesting on the streets of Hong Kong. But the Occupy movement is running out of steam. Her boss, Apple, summons Mercy. A complaint has been lodged against her by a customer, accusing Mercy of stealing her purse. She tries to deny it, but Apple has no choice other than firing her. David waits outside Mercy's apartment. When Mercy and Charlie meet him at the staircase, David tries to put a few words in. He wants to be involved in the decision-making for the baby. His stance has changed. Now, David wants to give it the best chance to have a great life and perhaps prove himself to be a worthy father. Despite his enthusiasm, Mercy brushes David off. She still wants to maintain a distance, remarking that she doesn't need him to raise the baby. Charlie, who had taken the elevator to the apartment before the conversation, is confused. Mercy had not told her about David or her pregnancy yet. But when the truth comes out, Charlie feels offended. She alleges Mercy of acting irresponsibly and keeping her in the dark. Before leaving for good, Charlie also points out that Mercy's blame game is to avoid her own accountability for her situation in life. Mercy does not see the privileged position she is in, how she can go back to the States whenever she wants and have nothing to do with Hong Kong. However, Charlie cannot and neither can the protesting students. Mercy is gradually entering her third trimester, after which there is no looking back. The abortion procedure cannot be executed once she has crossed that stage. Mercy has never had a great equation with her mother Haesung. But in spite of this coldness, she calls her and picks up Haesung at the airport. She tells Mercy that they must move back to New York soon. Mercy's apartment in Hong Kong is too small to fit both of them. When Mercy asks why, Haesung replies, "To take care of you." Expats ending explained, where do our characters end up? Lulu Wang intercuts the conversations between Hilary and Mercy, and Margaret and Mercy. The camera is placed directly in front of the characters to establish a direct connection between us and them. It is a technique that the Coen brothers often use while building up character dynamics. The conversations are surprisingly mature and accommodative. The three women have come to an understanding of each other's trauma and pain. Even though they have hurt each other in unforgivable ways, they find the courage to do exactly that, forgive. They cannot rid themselves of their pain. They have to find a way to keep on living and hope that it becomes a part of who they are. The series ends on a mixed note. Margaret has stayed back and is now living alone. She continues to look for Gus, but it is unclear how she is going about it. Hilary, who is now separated, has made changes to her apartment and found herself a new home. Mercy has moved back with her mother to adjust to a new reality, wherein she can finally move past her trauma. The episode review. Episode 6 of Expats is quite disappointing, a whole hour of almost nothing. The trend from the third episode onwards has taken the story in a completely different direction that has very few surprises. It is that territory of drama where the narrative's appeal becomes very subjective. Although the idea of women going through pain isn't at fault here, it is the representation that vitiates the overall experience. The acting is bland and the dialogue is too stretched. The finale is difficult to sit through not because the female protagonists are processing their pain, but because of how dull its visual manifestation is. I remarked how the male protagonists looked disposable after the second episode. And that is exactly how things have ended. Clark and David hardly get a look at in episode 6, further piling on my frustrations. The downward trajectory of the show ends with a very futile episode. There is no sense of narrative or theatrics to the storytelling, making it even harder to sit through.